TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donations. Shalom, Erev Tov, good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcast to you from Jerusalem. The Islamist Hamas transferred remains of a hostage who was already retrieved from Hamas captivity in late November of 2023. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reveals that during 2024, the ISA or Shin Bet thwarted over 1,200 Palestinian terror attacks against Israelis. And U.S. President Donald Trump voices his deepest appreciation to Qatar's leader for their central role in getting Hamas to accept his 21-point plan. A coffin containing remains of a deceased hostage was returned to Israel late last night. However, following an identification process by Israel's National Institute for Forensic Medicine, it has been revealed that the remains belong to the late Israeli hostage Ophir Tzalfati, whose severed remains were returned to Israel in a military operation in late November of 2023. In other words, Hamas withheld information about the fact that it had parts of a severed body of a hostage who was already buried in Israel, forcing now the parents of Ophir Tzalfati to unearth the grave of their son and conduct yet another funeral. And with 13 hostages remaining in Hamas captivity, Jerusalem is seemingly losing its patience with the evil manipulations by this Islamist terror organization Hamas, which continues to deliberately drag its feet in returning all of the deceased hostages in violation of U.S. President Donald Trump's 21-point plan. Meanwhile, in the southern Israeli community, or kibbutz of Be'eri, Yossi Sharabi, who was murdered while in Hamas captivity and returned to Israel over the weekend, was laid to rest after almost 750 days in which his body was held by Hamas. Israeli President Yitzhak Herzog, who attended the funeral, voiced his deepest sadness and regret for the loss of Yossi, who is survived by his wife, Nira, and their 3 daughters, Yuval, Ophir, and Oren.
As President of the State of Israel, on behalf of the State of Israel and the entire nation, I ask you, Yossi, you, the Sharabi family, and the entire Be'eri kibbutz, for forgiveness and pardon.
The brother of Yossi, Eli Sharabi, who was released from Hamas captivity after 491 days, stressed that while it was not the end they were hoping for, the Sharabi family views it as the beginning of justice.
We are finally able to bury you here at home, in the soil of Be'eri. This is not the ending we hoped for, but it is the beginning of delayed justice. A place to breathe, a place to cry.
It is important to know that while families of deceased hostages are burying their loved ones in Israel, living hostages who've returned from Hamas captivity have departed from the medical absorption center back to their homes to start their post-captivity lives anew.
We want to thank the medical team, Yov's team, all the people that supported us. Thank you to the families of the fallen soldiers.
Addressing the press following the release of their sons, the fathers of the last 3 hostages returning home have voiced their joy for the return of their children, while underscoring their hope that Israel would never again erect a ward for returning hostages.
Good afternoon. Today is a day of celebration for us and for the people of Israel. Hostages Eitan, Guy, and Eviatar are finally returning home after 2 years of difficult captivity with the Hamas monsters. Thank God, the hospital's returnees ward is closing down today. And we pray that never again a returnees ward will open in the State of Israel, that we will be the last parents whose children are kidnapped and are living in this hell for such a long time.
Turning to Jerusalem's Hadassah Mount Scopus Hospital, where an opening ceremony marked the opening of a brand new rehabilitative center for wounded veterans. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the guests of the new center, stressed that the great victories which Israel has achieved in the battlefield have been won at a heavy price of blood and tears.
We have won great victories, but they have come at a cost. The cost of our fallen soldiers and the inconsolable grief of their families, and the cost of young men who, on the face of it, do not have a future. But that's not what I saw. What I saw is unbelievably committed medical teams, unbelievable treatment that has now been augmented to the best in the world. The people are the best in the world, but they also need the equipment, and they now have it. But I saw that this is not just a building. What we have here is not just a building. It's a foundation of hope. It's a foundation of resilience, of tomorrow.
Earlier, Prime Minister Netanyahu attended a special ceremony for the President's Award for Excellence for ISA personnel for 2024 in Jerusalem, during the course of which Netanyahu revealed that over 1,200 terror attacks were successfully thwarted during the period of 2024 alone.
התרומה של השירות בסיכול למעלה
The service's contribution in thwarting over 1,200 attacks is unbelievable and also unknown. Because if there had been 1,200 attacks, you would understand it, and the entire public would understand it. But we have reached a situation where we have the greatest level of alerts we have ever known, and the lowest level of attacks actually carried out we have ever known.
ברמה הנמוכה ביותר שידענו.
The Israeli Prime Minister continued by underscoring that today, Israel is considered to be the strongest power in the Middle East.
והיום ישראל נחשבת
Today, Israel is considered, and not by exaggeration, the strongest power in the Middle East. We have changed the entire balance of deterrence and the balance of power. We did this thanks to the steadfast stand, first and foremost, of our people, our fighters, our commanders, and all of the security services, and also with the prudent decisions we have made.
בהחלטות מושכלות שקיבלנו.
Making a sharp shift to Turkey, where Ankara has agreed to procure 20 new Eurofighter Typhoon aircraft for a total amount of £8 billion, equal to approximately 9.1 billion euros or 10.7 billion US dollars from Britain. And while President Recep Tayyip Erdogan declared alongside visiting British Prime Minister Keir Starmer that London and Ankara are looking to deepen their cooperation, Premier Starmer proclaimed a new strategic relationship between Turkey and the United Kingdom.
Eurofighter Typhoon savaş uçaklarının tedarikine dair
Implementation arrangements for the procurement of Eurofighter Typhoon fighter jets were signed during interdelegation meetings. Mr. L. Starmer and I have just signed a declaration of cooperation on this matter in your presence. I see this agreement as a new symbol of the strategic relationship between us as two close allies.
ilişkilerin yeni bir nişanesi olarak görüyorum. Ekonomik ilişkilerimizi daha da
We are determined to further strengthen our economic relations. Our relevant institutions and organizations are taking many measures, including updating our free trade agreement. We are also exploring joint investment opportunities in third countries. We aim to establish new partnerships in the energy and defense industries.
Yeni ortaklıklar kurmayı hedefliyoruz.
And so we're taking a big step forward here today. Together we are announcing a strengthened strategic partnership and launching the first ever UK-Turkey bilateral cooperation framework. It is a landmark moment, reflecting the increasing depth and breadth of our existing cooperation and our ambition to go further. At the heart of this is our agreement today that the UK will provide Turkey with 20 new Eurofighter Typhoon aircraft, with the option to provide more in future. This will bolster security across NATO, deepen our bilateral defence cooperation, and boost economic growth here and in the United Kingdom, securing 20,000 British jobs, building these state-of-the-art fighter jets. That is something to celebrate.
It is worth noting that while Britain's relations with Israel under the current Starmer government are considered to be at an all-time low, Turkish officials acknowledged that Ankara's move to revamp their military hardware was directly correlated to fears related to Israel. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News. I would like to thank you if you're a supporter of TV7 Israel, since your donation is helping us produce our daily news updates from here in Jerusalem. And if you haven't yet supported TV7 Israel, since we are exclusively a donation-based organization, please consider doing so. You can donate via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Separately, as ever, pray for our brothers and sisters facing persecution globally, along with prayers for the peace of Jerusalem and redemption of Israel. Jonathan Hassan wishing you an Erev Mevorach. God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.